I always thought about harming myself.
I'm shy. I struggled with making friends.
I never thought I could do anything. I have extremely low self esteem.
Lately, I've been eating my pain away. Just throw it back up. I've been struggling to lose weight. Somebody said I don't fit in just because I wear my hair the way I like it.
1 out of 5 American girls suffer from mental health problems. Don't be that girl. Talk to someone.
Those thoughts I had are long gone, for I have a future I need to get to.
In order to get better, I had to do better. I learned how to make friends.
I believe in myself. That's when everyone else did, I set an example.
Instead of me eating everything, I started watching my calories. The weight is falling off.
I wanted to change my hair, but I decided it was for me. It's for me.
A PSA from the Curvy Girl Project.
And good morning and welcome to Expose Under the Sun, sponsored by the Detroit Native Sun newspaper. I'm your host, Darwin Griffin, and we have a very, very great morning to you and to all of our viewers this morning that are watching us live from the phenomenal cities of Detroit, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Mike Duggan, as well as the phenomenal city of Highland Park, Michigan, under the auspices of the Honorable Mayor Glenda McDonald. Our show is live, and if you'd like to call in, our phone numbers to call in on are 313-868-0342, 313-868-0351, or 313-868-4336. And our website is www.tv33whpr.com. Just want to say I hope that everyone had a great holiday weekend. I know there was a lot of activities that were going on this past weekend with the jazz concert, with the Arts Beats and Eats in Royal Oak, as well as the Michigan State Fair in Novi. So I know that there's a lot of activities. I was looking on Facebook last night and I saw where a lot of people really got into the Bev, Biv, and DeVoe concert that they gave at the Arts Beats and Eats last night. I was looking at people that were, looked like some of my friends who were almost up there on stage dancing with the other dancers. So again, I think that people had a great weekend. Hope people didn't eat too much barbecue. But I pray that everyone had a safe weekend with family and friends that they may have celebrated this weekend with. Again, the school year has started back, and I know a lot of people started back to school today. I know some people started back, last week. But to all of you that have started back to school, to the teachers, to the administrators, to the principals, we hope that this is a phenomenal school year for everybody involved. And we pray that everything goes well and the students will get an opportunity to go and have a safe and rewarding school year as we do subsequent years from this point forward. But again, it's kind of an interesting segue because my special guest today is someone who knows a lot when it comes down to education. And my special guest today is the Honorable Alexis Ramsey. Alexis, welcome to Expose Under the Sun today.
Thank you, Darwin. Good morning.
Good morning. And I thought that might kind of throw you off a little bit when I said that, and I'm like,
school
okay,
board president,
with
right?
school board,
Yeah.
correct.
Yeah.
But, just want to give kudos out to Ms. Angelique Peterson Mayberry, the president of the Detroit DPSCD School Board. as well as hoping that Dr. Nikolai Vitti and others that are involved, as far as say with the Detroit Federation of Teachers, as well as the administrators and everyone else involved in making certain that our young people in the Detroit area and our teenagers get a very good education. But Alexis, as I said, she knows all about that, having worked with the school board in Highland Park. But Alexis, you've worn so many hats in all the years that I've known you, and now you're wearing a new hat.
Yes.
One thing I'll say about Alexis too is that Alexis has worked with she's worked with some very good elected officials and public servants, throughout the years. She's been the person that a lot of people that may be vying for a public office, who they go to for strategy, for advice, and she's been very, very, she's a resourcer. She knows how to resource information, and she knows how to get the people that are looking for public office to get their best foot forward.
Absolutely.
Alexis, now and a lot of the elected officials are recognizing that, in you, and asking you to kind of help them to keep their game, stepped up, in the process. And right now, I see you're wearing the shirt that denotes who the person is that you are working with now, and tell the capacity of how you're working with the state rep, Mike McFall.
Okay, well, currently I am the in-district director for State Rep Mike McFall. We have a new resource center on Woodward and East Grand here in Highland Park. First time.
That's just north of Davison, correct?
Just north of
Okay.
Davison, kind of right across the street from the Wendy's.
Gotcha.
On Woodward and Davison area. So right now, that's kind of what I'm doing, and just super excited that the rep decided to put an office here. It's been, I know for sure, over 40 years that we haven't had something like this in our community and access to it so locally. So I'm just excited to know that we'll have some resources to help the community. So that's what we're doing right now.
And talk about the boundaries that State Rep McFall, what he covers. I know Highland Park is part of it, but there's also parts of Detroit as well.
Absolutely. So we go to Canfield in Woodward, which
Okay.
is Midtown. Then you cover, of course, like Boston, Edison, that area of Detroit, Highland Park. And then we also cover a very small slither of Ferndale. We also have all of Hazel Park and the majority of Madison Heights.
Oh, all of Hazel Park.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All
okay.
of Hazel Park. So we just, like I said, we have a very small slither. We share that with Helena Scott, State Rep Helena Scott, Ferndale, but we just have that little tiny area. And again, majority of Madison Heights and all of Hazel Park, Detroit, Midtown, and Highland Park. So it's a large district. The new lines have the drawing of the new lines after we did the census, of course. It's been very interesting, but it's also been very rewarding because, for me, you get to see both worlds, right? You get to see Wayne County and Oakland County, and it's a balancing act of how do you provide resources or certain legislation, how is it going to affect, and whether people like it or not, cross 8 Mile, right, and this side of 8 Mile. But we're bringing that together, and I think that Rep McFall is doing a great job, and other reps are doing a fantastic job when it comes to bringing those two worlds together. So I'm excited.
What were some of the things that Representative McFall was saying when he was running for office that he is striving to do in those various communities? Because like you said, you're talking about Wayne and, now is it Wayne and Oakland counties that he represents, or is it Wayne, Oakland, and Macomb?
No, just Wayne and Oakland.
Just Wayne and Oakland. And what are some of the things that he was saying? Because I know he, has stepped up to try and meet some of the challenges that he probably saw when he was running. But what are some of the things? What were some of the challenges, and what has he been doing, since he's been in office to try and meet the challenges that those respective communities have?
Well, he's a great listener.
Okay. And that's something that's important.
Absolutely. That takes you a long way, right?
Absolutely.
Because he's willing to listen, and also the biggest component right now is trying to bring funding back to the communities and ensuring that communities are they receive, you know, they get the resources that they need, right, as far as funding. So that was one of his biggest things that he was doing. And then also, again, just trying to bridge that gap between both Oakland and Wayne. So.
Okay. And then also because he's working with two different county executives, you know, in terms of, say, in, who is that? Is it Dave Coulter?
Dave Coulter and
In
Warren Evans.
Oakland County, and
Yes.
Warren Evans in the...
Absolutely. And he has great
Wayne County.
relationships with both, right? So, and the thing about Rep McFall is that, you know, he's all about community. He's all about showing up. He's all about, you know, being a part. You know, a lot of times state reps, it's hard to get to him, right? He's not that rep. If you pick up the phone and call him, he will call you back. If you need to speak with him directly, he will, you know, respond. So, and if you need him to show up to a community event or something that, you know, we went to a block club, right? The other day they were doing a book bag giveaway. Her name is Miss Gaskins, and she works with Returning Citizens. And so she was having a book bag giveaway this past Saturday down on the North End. And so we went, you know, things like that, just making sure that he's in the community and doing positive things. So I'm very proud and happy to work along with him.
So now you say that there's a community center, this, because he does a lot in terms of, say, with getting out in the community, but you say that there's going to be a new office that's opening up. What will some of the services be at that office on Woodward there next Davis?
Okay, so right now, we're building that, what this looks like out, right? We're building it out, but right now we have a partnership with WC3, and we're accepting applications for anyone that's looking to get their GED. And so they can come into the office, and again, the address is 13550 Woodward Avenue. Again, that's 13550 Woodward Avenue. So they can come in right now and they can fill out the application, like I said, to get their GED. And from getting their GED, then the WC3 would enroll them into like a 2-year program that they have going once they receive their GED. So it's a positive thing that we're doing there. Another resource, we're going to work very closely with DHS and working with this Medicare, Medicaid situation, because a lot of people don't understand they have to renew regardless of how long you may have been on there. When you see this, when you see your application come in the mail, please fill it out. We don't want people to lose their medical insurance, right? Or so we're working along with them. Other things that we're going to just kind of focus on is, again, just we're kind of just building this out of what this may look like, but we're going to work with DTE doing some home heating. You know, home heating repair or weatherization. That's what it is. So we're working with DTE with that. We're going to work with, of course, the schools or anything. You know, we're going to have community events there as well. You can also host a town hall if you need to, or if you need to hold a meeting or something like that for all local groups. And that's from Detroit, Hazel Park, Madison Heights, and also Highland Park. So if anybody in the community would need to, again, have a community meeting, they can always use that spot. So it's just really open. It's community forward is what we're working on and trying to build this out. So. And
Alexis, can you tell what are the days and hours that somebody would have access to this office?
Okay, so we're open now Monday, Wednesday, and Friday from 10 a.m. to 4 o'clock p.m. So
Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays from 10 to 4?
10 to 4. And the reason we kind of chose that is because during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, the rep is in Lansing. And so he's home on Mondays and Fridays. And so we're just trying to make sure that if anything comes up, you would have access to the rep on those 2 particular days, again, because he's community forward. So we want to make sure that any concerns or complaints, and that's another thing, we're bridging the gap with this resource center between the state and also federal. So if you come in and you have a state issue, or even if you have something going on in your local community, what we're here to do is listen and then try to help you navigate your local government or your state government and try to get you what you need. So if you're looking for a support letter, or if you're having issue with just maybe getting your trash picked up, just, you know, anything that a citizen would have an issue with, that's what we're here to do. We're here to bridge that gap and be that voice for them.
So now the thing that I just wanted to kind of cover too, because just to kind of give the information to those that may not know, State Rep McFall was just elected the beginning of this year.
Yes.
And his term ends next year.
Yes.
The end of next year. And
Well, it doesn't end, hopefully.
right, that's what I'm saying.
The
this
goal,
president,
right.
the first term, will
Right,
end
exactly.
then.
But we're looking
the second
forward.
and whatever other terms that he decides that he wants to
Absolutely,
continue.
yes.
In this.
Yeah, let's
in this
make
process.
sure we just say it right.
Right.
Nothing's ending, hopefully. That is the goal, right?
Well, and the thing is just like, so right now he's a first term
Yes.
state
Freshman.
representative,
Yes.
right? A freshman, and and I know he's doing a lot to navigate his way in Lansing, in terms of say with a lot of the other, his colleagues up in Lansing. But the thing is that if somebody wanted to give their support to Rep. McFall and some of the endeavors that he's doing in those areas like Hazel Park and Ferndale and Highland Park and Detroit, do you have a website or a number that they can go on that if they wanted to, get more information, they would want to pledge their support, or because this is, the time that a lot of elected officials may be looking for support, not just in a volunteer or also in a financial support, as well.
Yeah, we're not doing any campaigning right now, and plus we can't, combine that right now with the resource, and we have to keep everything separate.
Okay.
So no, not at this time. We don't have any of that type of information available, but next year for sure, if you invite me back on, I will definitely have some numbers and websites that they can go to find out more. But you can always follow the rep on his Facebook page,
Okay.
which is State Rep Mike McFall, House District 8, because that's the district, of course, that we serve. So yeah, you can always follow him for updates or anything along those lines.
Now let's do something in terms of, because I started out the conversation about you being the political pundit, the political analyst, and you know a whole lot when it comes down to the political arena. But
Man, I know a little something.
well, you know a lot more than I do. And
Little bit.
that's right there. But because we know that 2024 is going to be a real important election year, because a lot of people are looking at having people to run. We've got the presidential election, we've got the senatorial election, we've got Rep. Mike McFall and others that may be
State
running
rep election,
for
yeah.
state rep and
Presidential.
presidential election.
Biggest race we're
we've
looking
got
at.
a lot of elections that are coming up. But kind of give some of your your wisdom, your insight as to what do people need to be doing now, not so much the elected officials, but what do the prospective voters need to be doing now, especially like when we talk about researching their candidates, when they're talking about making certain that their voter registrations are up to date, when it comes down to knowing about how these, as you mentioned before, with the census, how the districts are, have been changed, around. But kind of give your, your insight in terms of, say, from all the years that you've been working with candidates and working with voters. What are your recommendations to voters, especially when it comes down to researching candidates, researching, where the polling sites are? What would you advise a lot of prospective voters to look at?
Before we get into, of course, always research a candidate, right? Go online, try to find out as much as you can. If that candidate is speaking somewhere, definitely go out and try to listen to them. If they're on Zoom, you want to find out more about the candidate. But right now, I think most people need to pay attention that our election is now, primary election for presidential is now in February, right? And so you're going to start,
Here for the state of Michigan.
Here for the state of Michigan. So I think you're going to start receiving applications in the mail to become either decide if you want to be on a permanent voting list. And so that means that you will automatically get a ballot moving forward for the rest, as long as you're a living being and breathing, you will receive your ballot in the mail. You won't have to reapply every year or fill out your form where requesting an absentee ballot. It will automatically come to you. So I want people to really stay focused and remember that the presidential primaries in February and no longer in August here in the great state of Michigan. So that's my biggest thing right now, is just kind of waiting to see of course, what's going to happen down the line and how a lot of our clerks are going to deal with this, right? Because now you have a primary in February, then you have a primary in August, and then you have your general election now in November. So, and then also things have changed when it comes to voting as well, because you now, some clerks' offices will have 9-day early voting, which is now required to have early voting 9 days prior to, or some cities may decide to go 29 days early for early voting. So it just depends on your city, your clerk, and what they decide to do. So there's a lot of new rules that are coming out, and great opportunities to allow people to be more engaged in the election process. And I think that's the goal of these new voting rules and constitutional change. So we'll see what this looks like in February.
Kind of going to, for the people that may not know, like you're saying, there's going to be 2 primaries next year, and then the general election in November.
Right.
Kind of explain what that means when you talk. I know it's going to be a lot of work for the clerks
Oh,
in
absolutely.
those respective communities, but talk a little bit more about what does that mean? What is the importance of this primary that's coming up in February?
The importance?
Right.
What do you mean by the importance?
When I say the importance, what is the difference between what's going to happen in February versus what's going to happen in August?
Okay, so February is presidential only, right?
Okay.
That is the
Yeah,
only
that's what I
thing
want you to
you
get-
will see
okay.
on your ballot is for president only in February.
Mm-hmm.
But then in August, that you're going to have your primary for your state rep, U.S. Senate, and anything else that may be on the ballot. So that's your ballot in August. But then in November, of course, you would vote for your president, your state reps, judges, whatever is on the ballot at that point. So it's going to be interesting. Like I said, just encouraging people to fill out their application to hopefully get on a permanent voting list so that you can receive your ballot at any time. Another thing you're going to have to do coming up in August is you're going to receive another application, and you have to decide if you want a Democratic ballot or a Republican ballot. So that's going to be interesting within itself. But once you decide what ballot you want, then you will receive that ballot, like I said, automatically in November for your general election. So it's going to be interesting. I'm excited to see how these new rules promote voting, and hopefully we can get these numbers up, especially in the African American community when it comes to voting. So I'm excited.
all that the people were saying about elections being stolen, and all that folks were saying in the past, they're doing as much as they can to try and negate
Absolutely.
some of the accusations that people were saying about elections being stolen or votes not being counted.
Yeah, they're trying to mitigate as much as possible, right? I believe that we have a clean and fair election system here in the United States, and but everybody has their right to their opinion as well, right? That's why you have recounts, right? Because you have the right to challenge the count. So, as far as the stolen piece, I'm not for that. Of course, I don't think anything was stolen, but do I think that a candidate has a right to a recount? I do. And so, hopefully these new rules will help mitigate a lot of those complaints.
Well, and the one thing too, Alexis, as you and I both know, that a lot of people are looking at Michigan as being a swing state. They understand the importance of making certain that Michiganders get out and vote, regardless of what party, that they're involved in. But, it really kind of lends itself to the past, few election cycles where people have kind of looked to see how Michigan went, to see about just how much impact they have on elections, be it gubernatorial, be it presidential, or even in some of the local, races as well. We know in terms of say about what's going on here, and let's talk a little bit about how important, because you've worked with a lot of candidates, in the past. How important is Michigan going to be in this upcoming presidential election? Because we know there's a lot of Republicans that are, that are vying for that spot. We know that the number 45 is, going through some legal issues.
Yeah, but before we get to that, I do want to just double back, just really
Go ahead.
quick, is that again, we were talking about the resource center,
Okay.
and so we're going to have a grand opening this Saturday, September 9th, from 11 to 1. So we're hoping everybody will come out. Again, the address is 13550 Woodward Avenue.
Just north of Davidson.
Just north of
Okay.
Davidson, and we will be there again. The official grand opening of the office will be September 9th, Saturday, September 9th, from 11 a.m. to 1 o'clock p.m. So everyone is welcome to come out, and we just look forward to celebrating, cutting the ribbon, and really getting this resource center off the ground. But
Well,
back
let
to-
me double back too,
Okay.
since you double back.
Yes.
Let me double back. So the people that come
Mm-hmm.
to the resource center on Saturday, you know, a lot of people are, you know, would there be any refreshments, or are they just coming just to?
Yeah, no, there will be refreshments served. We're going to have like a light brunch
Okay.
for everyone. We'll, kind of have the street blocked off so people will be able to kind of sit outside and enjoy and kind of walk through the resource center and just hear more about the services that we're going to be able to provide for them. So, again, it should be a wonderful program. I know the rep is looking forward to it. I'm, of course, looking forward to it. It's
So if
been
you
a
want to get a
labor of
chance to get
love.
to meet Alexis Ramsey, the Honorable Alexis Ramsey, they can come out on Saturday give those hours again.
11 to 1, Saturday, 13550 Woodward Avenue. So I'm definitely looking forward to it. And not just meet me, you can also come out and meet your rep, Mike McFall, on Saturday. We're definitely looking forward to a good time and hosting the residents and really getting this resource center off the ground. And I hope everyone will come out on Saturday, again, from 11 to 1.
Well, we know that it, as everybody uses the phrase, it takes a village.
It does.
And we're hoping, just like you said, that people will come out,
Mm-hmm.
not just to support, State Rep McFall,
Mm-hmm.
but also to support the various communities that he represents, throughout.
Absolutely.
So that's going to be important right there.
So I just definitely want people to understand that just because we're located in Highland Park, this does not mean that people in Hazel Park or Madison Heights or Midtown or North End or Boston Edison, if you have an issue that's
Still come.
within House District 8, please come to the Resource Center. That's what we're there for, is just to bridge that gap and hopefully be able to get you assistance, whatever it is that you're facing, or whatever challenge you have ahead of you. Like, that's what we're there for. So, and then we're also going to try working also with Wayne Metro and trying to bring some of those resources and services over to the Resource Center as well. So, we believe that this is going to be positive for the community, and look forward to seeing everybody on Saturday from 11 to 1.
And we hope that a lot of people, not like you said, people, we're hoping that there are also a lot of other elected officials that may be there to support. Okay, Alexis, this half an hour has gone by so fast.
It has.
And I'm looking at you, and I'm seeing Tim, our engineer, that was saying, to wrap up. But again, you've been listening to Expose Under the Sun. You've been watching, the program with the Honorable Alexis Ramsey. And if you'd like to get a copy of the Detroit Native Sun News that sponsors us, you can contact Ms. Valerie Lockhart at area code 313-457-5944. And everyone, have a very peaceful day. And contact somebody and let them know that you are thinking about them and they're in your thoughts and prayers. Have a great rest of the day.
Here at the Full and Fabulous Curvy Girl Project, we don't just focus on health, beauty, and self-esteem. We also offer an amazing summer program for young ladies ages 12 to 18. For more information, visit our website at fullandfabulous.org. See you soon.